First, obviously, I know we have such a huge alumni base and family in the Texas area, but everybody, our prayers are obviously with everybody down in Houston and all through Southeast Texas, and heading all the way into Louisiana with everything that's going on there. When all that stuff happens, sometimes puts our football into reality, but our prayers are with all those people that are suffering through that through the storm right now. For us here, we're getting ready game week. It's exciting. It's a big transition for our guys. You go through spring practice, you go through training camp practices, you're just constantly going against each other, and now you got to make that transition and playing against an opponent, a different team. Going to be facing a different offense than we've been facing in a long time, and a different defense than we faced in a long time, different kicking game, different personnel. So our guys got to do a great job transitioning into that. Pretty excited though. I'm pretty excited. I thought training camp went well. As I've said, I think the extra time that we had allotted for training camp really cut down on injuries and really was a big help for player safety issues for us. So tough challenge with the team we have coming in. First year head coach, new staff. So there's nothing to watch. You can watch a little bit of trying to piece together what they might do, and especially a team as talented as they are. When you look at a quarterback that's one of the top players in FCS, very, very productive player with a go-to wide receiver out there on the perimeter, a veteran offensive line. They execute their offense very well. You assume they're going to be running the same offense with the head coach having been there for the last several years running the offense. So. But they are a challenge, being a very option-oriented offense. But they throw the ball very well out of that option-oriented offense. And you go over to the other side of the ball where they have the guys. A lot of people said the number one player in all of FCS. Coming off the edge at defensive end, and they got linebackers that are some veteran players at linebackers, and a very experienced group that's used to winning. Winning multiple 2 straight conference titles and looking for a 3rd in a row, a playoff level team, a top 15 team actually. So a huge challenge for us to come out and play. With some young guys going to have their first opportunities to go play in the stadium, playing against a quality team like Charleston Southern. We're going to have our hands full, especially with some of the new things that we expect them to throw at us. So, but we're ready to go kick it off. Injury report hasn't changed from last week. And talking to our training staff, that it's still, Landon Gidger, as I said, is going to be out for the year. Malik, we won't be ready for this game, but we'll know down the road. And Harry Parker, hopefully, is back out there today for us. So, but not sure what his availability will be this weekend. Excuse me, a little bit of a cold over the weekend somehow. So, questions.
You had mentioned last week, Coach, that there's still some decisions to be made with red shirt and things. Is there anybody that you feel comfortable saying would play on Saturday, any of the true freshmen?
Yeah, I want to see how they handle this week of practice. I know Willie Gay's in the rotation for us. Tucker Day's competing to go play. So there's a couple guys who are going to have that opportunity to go play right away. But again, this is the first time for them, so I got to see how they respond right now to kind of picking up a game plan, and are they ready to get on the field on game day.
Hey, Dan, I'm just curious how much you bring up the South Alabama game from last year when, trying to sort of, implement some lessons from that game in regards to the opener this year, or is that something that doesn't necessarily have to be brought up?
No, I don't think so. Different team, different everything. They were a good football team. I don't know that we played exceptionally well last week, but that's on last year. I'm sorry, but that's on the coaches. Of us making sure that we transition and put everybody in the right position to make plays, and so I really thought much even discussing that.
You mentioned the coach is pretty similar to what they've done in the past, and he's an in-house hire, but there's going to be some change with a new head coach. What's your process for preparing for a guy who's in their first game head coaching?
Well, it's hard because, it's in-house on offense, but the rest, everybody else on the staff's new. Very, very few people were retained on the staff. Nobody on the defensive side of the ball. I think only one or two offensive coaches. So majority, it's a whole new coaching staff. So that's what always makes it a challenge when you're trying to see what they're going to do and how they're going to adjust to their personnel. With new guys coming in, new coaches, they're going to want to add their philosophy, and then they're also going to adjust it to the personnel they have. So we're going to have to do a good job making in-game adjustments.
Over the past week or so, you mentioned the possibility of Keaton redshirting, perhaps.
Yeah.
That you still have to think about. Is he gonna play on Saturday? Is it a case where you put him in, see what he has, and sort of use that as a basis for whether or not he plays or not down the road?
No, because you can't do that, obviously. It'd have to be an injury. So if you play, the redshirt rule is if you play in one of the games, you have to have a season-ending injury to be able to redshirt once you've played. It's not just a freelance games. Oh, like at practice? Yeah, he's going to get a lot of reps at practice.
Would that be what you decided to put him in the game? Or I guess what I'm trying to ask is, what are you balancing, I guess, in regards to...
Well, it's finding whether or not we want to play him. A lot of the situation comes out. Right now, he's our second-string quarterback. Now, whether or not he plays is a different question. So, that would mean he'd play. If something happened to our starter, he would probably get if our starting quarterback got injured, he'd play a bunch. If our starting quarterback didn't get injured, then that would be where the decision comes of whether or not he steps on the field for a game.
They have a unique take on the option and what they do, particularly the wide splits with the offensive line and taking advantage of that inside. How is that a difficult task for a defensive line, specifically the interior, that has to deal with that?
Well, I think one of the things, they are an option-based offense, and and you got to be very, very gap sound against the option and defend every phase of it. The dive quarterback in the pitch. But to me, what makes them a little different is they throw the ball. They're not your prototypical wishbone team. So you're not just committing everybody to stop the run and then try to defend the one or two play actions game. They can throw the ball pretty efficiently, so you got to be well balanced in what you do.
Coach, how is Nick Fitzgerald different this year compared to last year this time?
He's expecting going in. I think he knows what to expect, how to prepare for game week, and just what it's going to entail. Coming in, getting ready for the game, a routine, a preparation for the game, all of those different things. I think that's a big advantage he'd have over last year, kind of being a first-time guy getting ready to go, of adjusting to what game planning's like, how to really study and prepare for the game and get yourself out there on the field ready to go play at a high level.
Coach, you mentioned Tucker Dade. Is that saying that he is right now the place kicker going into the game?
No, I haven't decided any of that yet. That'll be decided at the end of the week. Like I said, it might not be decided this Saturday at warm-ups. So I want to see how everything goes this week with those guys and see how they handle the adjustment. A bunch of place kickers, none of them have played in a game at our level. So you got a bunch of different guys competing, and I want to see how they transition. It's a different week now. Now it's getting serious, and then it gets really serious on Saturday, and so see how they all handle it.
Coach, obviously the first game for Todd Grantham here. You changed coordinators, and Grantham came in for Peter Sherman. What changes have you seen in the defense, and what has kind of pleased you on that side of the ball going into the season?
One of the things I think the level of how hard our guys play, which is one of the most important things to me, the effort and the strain in which they give, and then also just how we're fitting everything. The guys, the overall understanding of everybody within the scheme and what they're doing and what the expectations of them are. I've been really pleased with that.
Nick's helmet popped off quite a bit last year. What would be your plan if that happens on Saturday?
Tighten it up. Hopefully, that's one of the things you talk about, the important things that he learns, how to do that. You know what I mean? That can't happen. You're a second-year player. So that can't happen to you. That don't happen to to the big-time guys.
But if it does, what will be your plan?
I don't know, I'll figure it
Can
out.
you get something in place this week?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I can call timeout.
And a similar question that Steve asked about Nick. What about Donald Gray? How has he changed any going in this camp?
I think he's really changed, his attitude, stepped up as a leader. I think he, you see a guy that has always had a good work ethic and since he's been here, but really that, coming into his final season, the desperateness that he shows, how hard he works, the detail he puts in every single day to doing things the right way and really trying to set the standard high for the receivers. I think he's done a great job of that.
Any news on Rivers and eligibility?
Right now, I think there's we're appealing a waiver with the NCAA to wait and hear, so hopefully we should know something this week whether or not that appeal goes through for him to be able to play. That's it. All right. Good deal.